share today is something to think about that's fundamental to a human man, to a man. And uh, it's a let me share my screen here. It's a very specific point I want to make, a specific angle, because obviously, I mean, what does it mean to be a man? There's so many avenues you can take with this question, and we heard a lot of things, right? Balancing the feminine, how much competence you have in building wealth and being able to protect, uh, being able to take resources, gather resources, being able to be romantic with women. Um, so there's so many different angles. But one specific angle that I want to share today, and we'll have a little bit of a discussion about it, is some things that are, from my point of view, very foundational to this question. So, let me go to the next slide here. So, in this presentation, there's two fundamental foundational pillars, and I ask myself, well, okay, what does it mean to be a man? Well, I'm a man in a human body, so what does it mean to be a human, right? And so, to answer that question, we all here, there's a given that we all understand that we're a soul, not just a material body. And so from that point of view, with every religious tradition or spiritual text, there's some aim of, we're not just this material form, material body. And so in the Bhakti tradition I studied as a monk for many years, um, the text explained that this life is meant for self-realization. It's meant for God realization. It's meant to have God or the divine in the center of our life and to be connected, to be connecting, or be reconnecting with God, with the divine. And we do that through understanding yourself. And so life is a series of lessons that we learn and lessons we learn about ourselves. Everything is a reflection of how we respond to our environment, and especially relationships, especially romantic relationships. It's where you really get in touch with who you are, what your faults are, what your strengths are, and it's a powerful type of relationship. Some of you have that, and know what I'm talking about. Or some of you had that and realize the depth of that, right? And so, with this human form of life, we strive to solve these problems of death, of eternality, of suffering. Why are we suffering? Why is there so much suffering in the world? Why am I suffering in this world? And essentially, who am I? Is there a God? Right? And so we're just taking this from a core point of view, just a broad stroke of it, of having this as a foundation of our manhood, of, hey, I'm here for a specific purpose, and I can use my prefrontal cortex, this human body, to try to rationalize, to reason, to understand, to learn lessons in life, and to become a more polished version of ourselves, to become higher in moral standard, to try our best to maintain integrity to our spiritual traditions, to our beliefs, to our moral compass, right? And this is a way in which the special significance of this human life. So that's the first thing. And then the more specific thing I want to dive into today, which is going to be relevant for us all as just a man with men's issues, is from a biological point of view, we're driven by testosterone, right? There's like 10 to 20 times more testosterone in our body than a woman has. And so testosterone is really what biologically makes us a man. And so what does this do for us physiologically? These are just some general principles. Have testosterone affecting the body, drives risk taking, increases muscle and bone density. So this goes to the point of Um, Protection, right? Males are generally bigger than women, right? Physically bigger, able to put on more muscle, just in general, and um, bigger bone density, right? So the next thing is testosterone generally increases assertiveness and drive, enhances competitive motivation, right? We all get this, right? We play a sport and we're like super motivated for a competition. I gotta be better than that guy. And and then if there's a girl in the crowd, we want to we want to show off to the girl that I could beat these other guys. And I'm gonna win her heart by winning this battle. We're going to war for my woman. We got that sort of energy in us, right? And then dealing with the male libido, man, it's a tough thing. Sex drive, right? Women don't the way women work with attraction is they don't generally have porn addiction. It's not a common issue with women. Men at the age of 12, 13, maybe younger these days, if you're Gen Z, um, struggling with porn addiction. This male, I mean, it's not to say that women don't have a high sex drive, it's just the way in which the way in which our attraction framework works is that we'll leave questions to the end, brother. Appreciate you wanting to ask them or share something. The way in which men work are highly visual in attraction. And so we have to deal with pornography, unfortunately, and checking out women's asses and boobs and whatever else. So enhance influences dominance behavior. So these are like just basic principles, general principles of how um, testosterone works within us. And I don't know about you guys, but I remember when I was in junior high, and I just didn't like other guys just because they who they were, like they dressed, or because they were popular or whatever. I was always like, oh, that guy's a bitch, or like, oh, that guy's a douche, or like, yeah, I don't like that guy. But I actually got to know them. I was like, oh, dude, this guy's cool. And so it was just a weird thing of just being flushed after puberty with testosterone and having this like competitive spirit towards other men that weren't in my tribe or like weren't my friends, and just having this negative ideas towards them or conceptions about them without even knowing them, because my brain wasn't developed enough, or like my prefrontal cortex wasn't developed enough to think about these ideas that this is just another human being, another guy, just another guy like me. Okay, um, yeah, that was what led me to this question and kind of wanting to present this angle of like, okay, well, what does testosterone do in men, right? What does that do? Because that's such a prominent feature of the male form. And then some general principles of how testosterone is influencing us psychologically, and then some common problems, right? So taking action is a form of generally associated with masculinity, having drive, having motivation, focus, energy. And the flip side of that is um, common problem with that or tension of that is just being caught in this analysis paralysis, not really knowing, just intellectualizing too much, too many options, and not making action, and not taking action because there's too many things to consider, too many avenues to consider, so many options, so many routes to take. Pursuit of goals. The challenge of that is not having clear vision, not having clear direction, or not even having goals, right? Not even pursuing goals. Many guys nowadays, they may say they have goals, but there's no actually a clear goal, smart goal that you're working towards. This competitive spirit, you may find yourself isolated. Or some people are averse to competition, but it actually does help us grow. Of course, it could be detrimental if we try to compare ourselves too much. Especially you go on social media and compare yourself to 16-year-olds who seemingly have it all, right? Like, oh my God, the 16-year-old's making $1 million a year. Like, what the hell am I doing in my life? And then we feel isolated, we feel like stagnant, feel like we're dissatisfied with who we are in our life. Damn, I'm missing out. Making decisions generally associated with masculinity, being decisive, knowing what you want, being decisive. But the other side of that is being indecisive, similar to the analysis paralysis, just kind of stuck in indecision, always doubting yourself. Initiate based on your desires, or to be passive, right? If you have like a difficult argument or a difficult topic to bring up to your girlfriend or your wife or a friend, um, you know, it's on you to lead, right? And to initiate those type of things in your life, and to create a life for yourself. But if you get stuck in a passive state, then it could lead to a whole sense of like not feeling productive and not feeling like you're really striving and achieving your potential. Right. So a man is a leader, right? So like it doesn't mean that you have to lead a whole country to be a man, or you have to lead a whole, 100 employees in your business. But it really starts with leading yourself, knowing what you want, knowing what you want out of life, knowing what you want to create for your family, for because that's what it is. It's like most of us are going to have a family at some point. And so how do we have to create a life for them, right? By gathering resources, gathering money, getting wealth, getting a house, getting property, and being able to protect our family. Like just imagine, right? If there was a thought experiment, if there was a, a zombies that, some epidemic of zombies that started to overcome the world, then it'd be on the men to figure shit out, figure out how to protect your family. And that's a crazy thought, right? Of like, dang, what would happen if the world went to shit right now and I had to protect my family? Like, how would I do it? Do I have the skills necessary for that? Like, that's a tough world, man. Um, anyway, every man should be thinking about this a little bit. Like, protection, how do I protect my family? What kind of plans can I have? Because your woman is going to rely on you for that, rely on you for physical protection. All right, so here's just some general principles and some common issues that come up with them. There's obviously a lot more that could be said. Um, but how these qualities and traits form in a man's life is really dependent on your particular nature and your temperament. So this goes against the point of like, oh, everybody has to be an alpha red pill millionaire, super jack, like Lucas said, bodybuilder. Um, that's a type of temperament. Like, obviously, I'm not saying like that's not good. Like, I lift every day. I'm going for a specific physique, and not every day, 5 days a week. So I have all these goals for myself, but it doesn't make me a man to be, a freaking bodybuilder. Like most guys like that are get to that point because they have a lot of insecurities about themselves. And so how these types of traits of masculinity show up in your life is just really depend on your temperament. Because some people are introverted, or some people are their temperament is less aggressive and they're more calm, chill, collected, or maybe more intellectual, but not so much emotional. And so just navigating your life according to your own nature, and then striving to improve in whatever areas of these traits you feel like you are out of alignment with who you are, because it's likely that there's particular things on this list that you're like, oh yeah, I could do better in this specific category or this specific trait, right? And so if that's always in you, then there's an indication that it's going to be helpful for you to work on that, develop those things in yourself. All right, so there's a cool quote. "One the greatest project you'll ever work on is you." It's really like I said, life is a series of lessons, and Anybody who's lived a few years, like all of us, there's so many lessons, so many regrets we have, so many positive memories and things we could just wish we could have done differently, and lessons we wish we would have learned earlier, would have done things a little differently. And so it's all just we're a work in progress, and it's really just about moving forward with where you're at now. And so I want to give this prompt, and the man I want to be is dot dot dot. So this is just a simple visualization or vision exercise, and I want to see where this takes us. And whatever comes to mind for like a minute or so, share it with us. You can raise your hand, share it with us, and um, yeah, we'll hold that space to allow you that reflection, and this will be a way in which you can set a set a standard for yourself, or like set a direction for yourself. And I think you'll find that after this call, you start to make decisions that are in alignment with this. And if you've already thought about this and you're already working on it, like please share with us as well. And I think we get a lot of inspiration from hearing from each of us, um, what kind of man we want to be.